myself as a consumer, I want to be on the receiving end of more personalized experiences. But ultimately, if there's a barrier and it's harder to get the data that helps drive those experiences, yeah, how does that work in the longer run?
Hi, I'm Andy North with Velocitize. Our guest today is Alex Price, founder and managing director of 93digital. Alex, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thrilled to have you here. So let's just jump into it. Yours is a WordPress digital agency.
It is.
Let's talk a little bit about the growth of WordPress and what you've seen and what you're seeing in general.
Yeah, I think it's been an amazing journey. I started working with WordPress about 8 or 9 years ago. That was at a time when it was definitely more in the blogging space and the small business space. And at the time I was freelancing, I was designing, I was developing and doing some digital marketing, and really working on a whole load of different clients. I wasn't WordPress specialist at all. I was working with Drupal and other open source CMSs, Joomla, and gradually saw WordPress really gaining traction amongst the clients that I was working with. As a developer, I found it the easiest to work with. My clients found it the easiest to use and maintain. And I think for me, a big part of its growth has been that usability and ease of use has been kind of one of the cores of what's given it the fairly phenomenal growth that it's had over the last few years. And then, yeah, we've gradually seen it go from the blogging end of the spectrum to the enterprise end of the spectrum, really with the right developers and the right skill sets behind it, and obviously a strong investment in hosting and infrastructure. It can be delivered securely and at scale, and in a high performance manner, which is really the space that we now fill as an agency.
Fantastic. It's now 30% of the web from the last statistic I saw. So are you seeing in general more marketers picking it up, or is it more in the IT side, or is it a combination of both?
It's really interesting. I think we've been doing a lot of work around our own kind of user personas and who we work with as the key stakeholder within our clients. And I think there's definitely been a transition from IT teams or IT kind of stakeholders to marketeers more than anything. I actually find it really fascinating that marketeers are becoming technologists just by proxy of what they have to manage these days. When you look particularly at kind of marketing education in the UK, you can study marketing in the kind of higher education in the university environment, and I think most of those syllabuses are completely out of date and don't cover much digital at all. And even when you look at the more kind of trade body like Institute of Digital Marketing and those kind of organizations, even then they're talking about pay-per-click, they're talking about SEO, they're talking about wider elements of digital marketing, be it not to much depth, but very little training around how to procure and find a website development partner, but actually manage that process in its entirety and then manage a website once it's launched. And for me, there's this massive gap in the education syllabus for marketers. I don't know what the situation is in the US, but definitely in the UK, I find that marketers have a big knowledge gap around how to go about finding the right agency and working with the agency in the right way. And I think we see the relationship that we have with our clients as being so key to attaining the outcome that both sides want. And so that often comes with a level of experience that's needed from our clients and the stakeholders within them. And unfortunately, it's only the marketers that have been around for 20 years and are kind of at the top of their game and CMO level who have been through 10 different website projects and have been bitten in every way possible, have had all the pain possible, who finally have learned how to go about managing that kind of project. But the marketing exec that's been in the job for 2 years and gets told by their CEO, go out and manage the design and build of our new website, I really feel for, because very little is out there to support them. So I think a big part of our role as an agency is to be that trusted partner and to help our clients go through that process.
And how are you doing that? How are you going about helping some of your clients cut through the clutter, really deliver the best digital experiences?
I think there's so many different angles that we see our clients looking at projects from, and even though they often are, 95% of the time we're working with a marketer within our clients, they have so many different needs and are driven by so many different things, that it is a very bespoke and personalized experience that we have to offer them in order for them to deliver a successful project. So a lot of our projects are in for example, the B2B technology space, where really the successful outcome for them is more leads coming in through their website, and that's something that's quite straightforward. Other clients are looking for particular engagement metrics, or the ability to really spin up landing pages for a particular campaign really quickly. So flexibility is one of those things that comes into our projects over and over again. Is we've been on this CMS, it's really slow, we have to pay our developers hundreds of pounds to make a one-word change. It takes 6 weeks. So we really see our role as empowering our clients to do what they need to do, empowering marketing content teams to go out and do what they need to do to achieve their results. So it's about getting really close to them, understanding what their objectives are, but actually the overarching objectives of the business in its entirety. We often find there's a bit of a disparity between what marketing teams want versus what the C-suite wants, and they don't always come in alignment, and they don't often treat each other with the necessary respect in the run-up to a project, I find, to make it a success. So it's something I find myself talking about more and more with clients these days, and something that both for our clients and for my team, we really have to be aware of and extremely sensitive to, because if you miss these things, and if you don't get inside the organisation and really understand where the kind of balance of power lies, and really what's driving a project beyond the superficial couple of slides of A4 that the brief is written on, your project's not going to be delivered smoothly.
So are you seeing multiple CMSs? Are you seeing your clients working with some of the more legacy proprietary CMSs and, for instance, a WordPress in addition?
Yeah, I think we see both. We see clients, I guess, more in the enterprise space that have much wider digital footprints, using a variety of different CMSs for a number of reasons. Often WordPress is the primary CMS, sometimes it's the secondary CMS. I think more and more we see clients, I think, at least striving for simplification as much as possible. And so often that is a move to one CMS. And for me, that's a really exciting space within what we do with WordPress currently, is looking for ways to unlock efficiencies throughout multiple parts of our clients' businesses, and deliver kind of unified solutions and code bases that actually might be able to be used across a wide range of different projects they might be running. So an example is for a big health brand that we're working with in the UK at the moment. 12,000 products I think they have, and we're currently building a kind of a platform that will allow them to have shared elements of functionality, such as where can I buy this product, kind of store finder, some kind of solution finder to guide you to the right product. So kind of very functional elements which we know that every brand would benefit from, but the ability to kind of reskin them quite easily, and to roll out new sites and onboard multiple brands onto that platform for that client. So unlocking much greater value in the longer run, unifying the customer experience so that all of their customers feel like they're getting the same experience digitally across everything, and making content much easier to manage for their teams internally. And then I think the other side of that is just seeing WordPress grow phenomenally in kind of on all fronts. We've recently won a project to take a site from Sitecore over to WordPress, which for me is a huge win. That's a product that clients have paid sometimes 6 figures just for a license for, not to mention the design and build that follows. And they get their hands on it and they realize that it's actually quite hard to use, and half of it they're not going to use anyway because they're just either under-resourced or they don't have the time. And WordPress can actually kind of do all the things they need to do, and we can work with things like GeoIP on WP Engine. We can work with multilingual capabilities. We can deliver all of the functionality that they're looking for on WordPress safely, securely, and in a kind of fast and high-performance way.
And you may have answered this, but as you were speaking, it came to mind. Do you think there's more headroom for WordPress?
I think so, definitely, yeah. I think actually a lot of the work that WP Engine are doing really successfully to think about all elements of the experience rather than just being a hosting platform is a big part of that. And I think that's something that's actually been missing from the WordPress community in a lot of ways for a long time. There's kind of lacked this platform-like view of what WordPress can be, and kind of connecting the dots for marketers and content teams to continue to iterate and get the results that they need. So things like the GeoIP or geo-target, elements of personalization that you're now including in the platform, content performance, all of those things that marketers have traditionally struggled with and not had are becoming part of a unified platform, which is really exciting for us as an agency because we can continue to help our clients deliver the experiences they want to for their clients.
We conducted a survey a few months ago, particularly of Gen Z. We surveyed all 4 generations, but Gen Z being the youngest one, the top end just graduating from college now. Their primary view on life was no longer inform me, which the preceding generations voted for. Theirs was entertain me. If you entertain them, then they will then be informed. Yeah. Are you seeing that with some of your clients' work, where it's a little bit more entertaining at first as opposed to here's the data?
I guess so, yeah. I think particularly in the big brand space, that's more common. I think it's interesting. I don't know whether I think that's maybe quite a superficial response to the survey. I feel like whilst it makes sense and whilst it's quite, it's a fairly easy answer, does that necessarily translate into true marketing value for the brands that now invest in entertaining? Maybe it does. I mean, the campaign I just mentioned around Conor McGregor and Burger King, yes, everybody sees through it, but then A, we're all talking about it, and B, it was quite funny in a simple way. So is that enough for it to deliver return on investment, which ultimately all marketing and advertising is about for Burger King? But yeah, I think we're definitely seeing our clients and marketing teams upping the bar in terms of what they deliver from a marketing perspective. I think the bar is set higher than it's ever been. The barriers to entry of good marketing are greater than they've ever been. Everybody's doing more marketing. Everybody's gradually unlocking more budget for their marketing, and so it just continues to increase. And so I think that's a real challenge for marketers is constantly striving for quality, but with limited resource. As
a London-based business, do you have any thoughts on the GDPR coming with sort of the confluence of data and creativity and culture, and how that's going to affect potentially your clients or your business?
Yeah, so I think we've already been feeling the effects. I think actually just having spoken about personalization, it's a nice segue because ultimately knowing about customers drives personalization. So I'm often on two sides of the fence in terms of, I think GDPR is a great thing in many ways and will really shake up and make a lot of organizations much more customer-centric, and that's only a good thing, I think, for everyone in the long run. The downside is that, we all want to be continuing to deliver personalized experiences that are more relevant to us, and myself as a consumer, I want to be on the receiving end of more personalized experiences. But ultimately, if there's a barrier and it's harder to get the data that helps drive those experiences, how does that work in the longer run? So I think we've seen a lot of clients obviously coming to us and talking about how their websites need to become GDPR compliant, but I think the main thing for me is to really make them aware that GDPR is not just a marketing consideration. That really just scratches the surface of it. I think it's an organization-wide business process consideration, and touches the entirety of any client that we're working with. But on the surface and in terms of how our clients interact with their customers, it's all through marketing teams. But that in turn, I think, has actually led to some really healthy discussions between marketers and the C-suite, and actually, CEOs and that level within businesses are having to consider GDPR, and that in turn is opening up a lot more discussion around marketing. So I think it's actually a really good opportunity for marketers to be involved in that kind of discussion, and to really continue to drive that customer centricity within their organization. So whilst I think it feels like there's a lot of red tape and it's quite painful and it's actually quite boring as a subject, I think there's an opportunity there for everyone.
Well, my guest today has been Alex Price with 93digital. And Alex, it's been wonderful. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.